Well, so I guess I get to welcome you first. I'm Carolyn Whiteman, and this is our monthly OPA call. And if you don't know what OPA is, you are missing one of the most wonderful family community teams that you'll ever know. And that stands for Organic Products Associates. And many of us have had the opportunity to know the one who formed that, and that is Mary and Gary Loomis. And Mary and Gary Loomis have now passed the business on to their son, Rob. And Mary created, she was basically not my direct immediate sponsor, but always I was first level to her. She was my mentor and mentor to so many of the others of us. And she started the name OPA with a vision. And the vision was so big that she could see that the development of the Shackley family was going to get bigger than the name Loomis, that people wouldn't necessarily know the name Loomis, and that it didn't necessarily have to say Madoran or Nistico or Budner or Holdren or anyone else. And what she did, or Sherapins, we have a wonderful master coordinator team here also, but the OPA stands for Organic Products Associates. And she said, that is our family name. That is the umbrella that we all fit into. So I was at an event this past weekend with cousin leaders with Jan Hurley and her husband, Stan Goldenberg. And we talked about being cousins because we're down in the Loomis organization under OPA, even though we're not all sponsored by each other. So welcome to all of you, whether you are in our family or guests of our family. It is a wonderful pleasure to have everyone here. So here's what we wanted to look at as a topic tonight. How many of you have ever thought about going out into the community and talking to them about the things that we do in our business, but you didn't want to make it a Shackley meeting? You didn't want to go out with a name and like, I'm going to sell you something. We just wanted to go and be educators. Has anybody else had that experience or had that desire that perhaps in your school group or your church group or your community groups, there are people who would like to learn about healthy living, whatever variation of that you choose to call it, but you didn't want to go out as a Shackley person? So that's really what we're looking at tonight. And so we're going to give you some guidelines and some things that hopefully will be helpful. And I am going to share screen. And I'm going to start out by, Scott has these different slides that he can make available to us if you choose to. But I'm going to start with this. And what this is what I say we are. Now, remember, this is, Shackley is the solution. It is not what we're talking about. Well, let me talk us through it. And then when you see it, you can use it. Draw a line down the middle of the page. And on the right side, write treatment. And on the left side, write prevention. And what we get to do is make a distinction.
I don't have it. I can't get it.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, let's look at the right side first. And remember, this is a generic audience. This is just talking to people. Let's talk about the right side. Suppose something, people have some kind of an issue, whether they got a headache or they got a major malady, whatever it is. Our general default setting is to try to treat it. And so what we do is we go over to the right side of this chart and we go to the doctor, because that's who fixes things. And what are the tools that a doctor uses? Well, the tools they generally use are, some kind of medication or procedure or something like that. And what we always know about those things is there is some kind of a side effect. There's some kind of a boomerang that happens on the other side. And the reality also is that there's nothing over there that really fixes us. What it does is it's the Band-Aid that kind of hopefully stops the pain or fixes whatever we want. So where we are working is on the left side. And the left side is the side that's called prevention. And this is the side that we live and work on. This is the side that is based on not medication, not pharmaceuticals, but it is based on lifestyle choices. It is based on things that we can decide, whether we exercise, what we eat, how we live. Those are lifestyle choices. And that can include whether we supplement, what we eat, and so on. And the good thing about that is, instead of it being pharmaceuticals, our tools are the food and the lifestyles. And what happens on that side is we don't have side effects, we get side benefits. And those benefits may be increased energy or whatever it is. And what we're looking for there and we're able to get is long-term sustained results. So the left side of this chart is where we are. Now, what I like to say is we don't have any conflict with the right side. We want them there, we need them there, but our objective is as soon as possible to take a round trip and get back on the other side. Unfortunately, in many cases, once we get over in the right side, we end up in a circle that keeps us into one side effect, something that doesn't get us off of that. So our objective is to educate ourselves so that we can do a round trip as soon as we can and get back on the side that's really our personal responsibility. So it's our personal responsibility, and we're in the business of preventive healthcare. That's who we are and what we do. So the reason I like this chart is because it opens up for us the opportunity to say, if you want to do something that's non-branded, you can have these conversations with people, with the school, with the church, with the community, with the, whatever organization you want, and it can be an education. So Joanne, you want to add anything to that? And then maybe what I'll do is go back and see if we can get into the other.
I have the other presentation ready for you, Carolyn.
Okay, hopefully
and
I do.
All of the slides that we'll be showing will be available on the OPA back office, so they'll be made available to you. That is such a powerful slide itself because, I look at Red, you're coming back after getting a degree in nutrition and helping people look at that left side. Wouldn't you say that is what you're looking at, is helping people with prevention rather than curing? And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, is that revitalizing and re-engaging ourselves to being wellness educators. That's certainly what's built many of our larger businesses, is by sharing the educational information that we have. Thanks, Scott. Did you get that up?
I think maybe I did, which is
okay.
Good.
All right. So with that said, Carolyn's going to go into a presentation she shared with me that I said, this is powerful. This is exactly what I want to use. So Carolyn, go ahead.
Thanks. Now go back to, if some of you remember the Simon Sinek, one of the most listened to TED Talks ever, that says it starts with why. And so we can spend a lot of time teaching people things and details, but the bottom line is, why is the biggest driver. What we want to do is have people's attention as to why this is even important. So this is a presentation that, gosh, we put together 2 or 3 years ago. And so if there's slides on here that we can update, please give us, there's more good common information. But I'm going to go through these, rather quickly. But here's the point, is this can be the beginning of an in-home presentation. This can be the beginning of something that you do with a group, and it doesn't have to have a name on it. So let's talk about what are these reasons. This is the reminder of what Simon Sinek talks about, and this is our purpose. So let's say we're talking to a group of people from your, school or your church or whatever, and our purpose is to really be able to empower future generations. So they've got the curiosity and the wisdom and the skills to be people that can make our families as healthy as they can and to do good stuff. So let's take a look at this. Our objective is to break the cycle of treating illness that overshadows promoting health. And that's where we want to work on this other side of the page. And so what are some of the issues that people are dealing with? And what I like to do when we start this is, who do you think about when you see these things? There's probably a cousin or someone who lives near you or someone who's at school with you. Food allergies, they impact so many kids now and there are many kinds of life-threatening allergies that are issues. Different kinds of food allergies. The costs of food allergies become enormous. This slide, and again, if you have something more updated, that's great. 1 in 13 kids has different kinds of food allergies. I can remember talking about gluten sensitivity. I can remember going to a Shackley event a handful of years ago, and there was this beautiful buffet spread, and there were signs on there that said gluten-free, and I said, what's gluten? It's like, what is that about? And only to realize now how common that is with signs of gluten intolerance. Many of those things have to do with digestive issues. Many of those things have to do with simply just, all kinds of different kinds of things that show up with that. And then when we look at 6 million kids are seriously overweight, if you take a look at this slide, I'm afraid to make it bigger, but I'll show you the next one. 6 million kids are overweight. And I mean, I look at this thing and I go, gee, when I grow up, I'm going to weigh 300 pounds. There I am sitting there as probably a, year and a half old kid who's eating French fries. I mean, can you imagine what that's doing to lifestyle? Then we've got issues of early puberty, why many girls are growing up faster with issues of hormonal stuff that's coming in from, whether it's foods or plastics or whatever it is. But if we think about it, there are people who are being subjected by these things. And I don't know. So I love this one. Tell the EPA to get the glyphosate off of our plates. And you take a look at how much, and glyphosate is Roundup. That's a, insecticide, pesticide. It goes in our garden. Look at how much of it might be in our Cheerios. Now, again, these slides are, 2 or 3 years old. And if you've got some better ones, please send them on. But the idea is, what are the things that are in our foods? ADD, ADHD, it has doubled in the past decade. The trend has continued. And the average number of times that kids are sick per year is now 7 times a year. And, if you're involved in the school system or being a school nurse or caregiver, it used to be that almost no kids had any medications. And now the school nurse is like overwhelmed by all the different kinds of things that all the different kids have to have. I love this silly sign, but, Ritalin is so much easier than parenting. So let's drug the kid if he's told that he's got attention deficit or something. Let's give him a drug. Let's, go over on the right side of there instead of seeing if maybe there's something else that can happen. Autism spectrum, the spectrum of disorders of autism has increased by 9,000% since 1980. And these numbers may be updated now. As I said, these are, 2 or 3 years old. Take a look at these chemicals that have been tested. And we take a look at what's in our homes. The number of industrial chemicals that are used in household items, 84,000. The number that have been tested by the FDA, 200. The number that are regulated, And the last time that a federal chemical safety law was updated was 1976. Now, again, if there are more updated information, I'd love to see it, but we get the general idea. 2016, almost 12,000 poisonings or exposures from different household products. And then, of course, this is one of the famous ones that Roland uses that's so effective. We talk about this is the handwriting of a child who, when they had Lysol or whatever they were using, Pine Sol and Lysol, this was their handwriting. They removed those toxic chemicals in the environment. Look what happened to their handwriting. And then they put it back in. Look what happened. Here's another example of it. Change of handwriting with the addition of chlorine bleach. I actually have a drink here. So do you get the idea of the kinds of reasons? This one, food dyes, the US and the UK. In the UK, cheesy pasta has basically got 2 or 3 ingredients. In the US, macaroni and cheese has got a ton of ingredients. What's happened to our foods? Dinner 100 years ago, farm to table. Now there are additional seasonings added because it goes from the farm to, wherever. And by the time we get it, heaven knows what's in our food. This is a fast food display that was 2 years old. Many of us have done this and used some of our fast food items and shown that, we've got burgers that are 12 years old and all different kinds of stuff that, it lasts forever. And those are the foods that we're eating. So if we think about those things, this is another example that Roland uses a lot, and I think it's really important. Second or third generation of animals, when they are bred and continue to have these different kinds of things introduced, pretty soon they're unable to produce healthy offspring. So we are what we eat. So don't be fast, cheap, easy, or fake. And so this is a little bit of our why. So, and then then we switch a little bit. This is so what else? What else is talking about our income? People are concerned our family lifestyle is under assault, too much month at the end of the money, the different kinds of professions that are being just radically changed. And so let's talk about what other kinds of possibilities are there. Teaching is a profession that teaches all of the other professions, and yet 2 working parents stretch family life. Teachers and community support people are being underpaid. The sticker shock, the cost of raising a family. Again, these figures may be updated, but these were quotes from 2 or 3 years ago. Expect to spend on the average close to $250,000, $14,000 per year on average to raise one child born in 2015. And that number only covers the cost from birth to the age of 17. Now, just imagine the financial issues. So the oppression of student loans, the changes in millennial income, 4 in 10 of them swamped in debt, and almost a third of them are living with their parents. So we've got baby boomers that are financially challenged, medical expenses, and then you add things like tax income issues that might be the benefits that could come from owning your own personal business. Well, the world has changed, and people who don't recognize this fact, it can be the worst of times. But for those who do, the question is, how are you going to build your economic security? So it seems like all we hear about is problems. So what if there are some choices that you could make to help other people? So if we could introduce some possibilities, would you like to check out some solutions that are working for some other people? Now, let me stop here and say all of this up to this point has been non-branded, right? So what we're doing is we're getting people interested in I don't think there's any audience that we can imagine that can't somehow go, yeah, that relates to my cousin. Yeah, I know the neighbors are having this issue. Yeah, I know somebody in my family that can see these things around us. And so now what we do is, if you want to do this as a non-branded presentation, what you can do is simply say, and I don't know that I've got the slides on this, but what you can simply say is, here are some suggestions that I would make as to how we can solve some of these issues. And here are the criteria that I would look for in where I go. There are two kinds of criteria that I look for when I go to figure out what am I going to do about my kids, my health, the family, the environment, the stuff in my food. The first thing I want is, I want products that are safe. I want to know that whatever I'm introducing is something that is safe to use. And the second thing that I want to know is, I want to know that I'm buying something that works. I'm buying something that's proven, that has value. And so as we introduce those two criteria, then people can say, well, what about buying here? And what about this on the label? And so on. Then if you choose to do this as a non-branded presentation, then what I say is, those are the criteria that I'm looking for. And the people that are my customers have two qualities. They're smart and they're busy. They're smart enough to know that if someone would tell them that they could trust something is safe and trust something works, they would like to just buy it and be done with it, because they're busy enough that they don't want to go spending their life looking for other brands and see what will work. So what I can say, if this is a non-branded presentation, I can say, look, I hope there are tons of different solutions out there that people can use. What I can tell you is, I have found some products and a partnership with a company that works for me and that has those two qualities. And if that's something that you'd like to know more about, I would be happy to talk to you. Leave your card here, leave your information. I'll talk to you about it separately. But I simply wanted to use this as an opportunity to educate you and our market that if these are things that are going on for us, let's look for solutions so we can go back to that very first slide and we can be proactive about choices that we can make that are lifestyle choices. So, Joanne, back to you. What suggestions on filling in for that, or questions for anyone?
I just believe that everyone here on the call is building their wellness business. Is that correct? I would assume we're in Shackley, true wellness to the world. I saw this presentation and I said, it's bringing me back to exactly why I have gotten involved with Shackley. And what a better way to show that we need to help educate parents and people on the terrible things that are in our food sources. You know, you can't pick up a box that doesn't have GMO on it practically. It's just really, so we're kind of going full circle again when I saw it on how I'm building my business and what I'm doing to grow my business and with new people. So I love the presentation.
So what you can do if you want to continue this real quickly is, we can talk about the fact that nature provides some powerful possibilities. And the choice of the brand that I've chosen goes back to a philosophy that's products in harmony with nature, the best of science, the best of nature, built on trust, based on over 100 years of science and just impeccable background from the company that is the most clinically proven wellness company in the world. See, you can do all that without even saying Shackley. You can say that that's what you have. These are some of the pieces of the difference of the brand that I've chosen. These are some of the kinds of partners that have proven the fact that it works. Olympians, astronauts, And so when we go back to it, we can say this great quote from Tony Robbins, we're drowning in information, but we're starving for information and for things that we believe for wisdom and for things that we can trust. So our purpose here is to empower our future generations with the curiosity and the wisdom and the skills. And so if our commitments align with yours, talk about how we can partner to expand a global impact. So that's that hopefully gives some ideas of things that people can use. And if you have some updated slides, please, by all means, pass them on. So
Or some suggestions, if you saw some things that I know many of you that I know on this call are detailed people. Carolyn wants to update it. So if you see some of the slides that are glaringly outdated or older, and you do some research and you find the difference, the slides will be available on the OPA site to review so we can make it more current. I plan on using it because one of the passions that I want to reignite in my business is helping families contribute better health to families. And the food choices are very important. Exercise is very important. You know, all of the things that we can teach people, educate them, and then give them solutions of what gifts we have with Shaklee, because we all know how great it is and what it's done for us.
I'll give you one little hint of something that it's beyond my reach right now, but it's close by. But one of the things that I've done with this, if you want to get back to doing in-home hands-on presentations, is what I've done is I took some of these slides and I went down to, you know, whoever your printer is, and I printed them up in an 8.5 by 11 and laminated them. And so I have them, they're like cards. So if you go into someone's house, it can be with one person or 5 people or, you know, a bigger group. I take those cards and I just lay them out on the table, just kind of spread them out.
I did a luncheon Saturday, and I had a Spanish group that only speaks Spanish. I had an interpreter. If I had those slides, you know, if I had on a slide, those pictures are worth 1,000 words.
And you could do, you know, one side English, one side Spanish. But the idea is people picking it up, well, like, what does this have to do with? Like, what is this picture of this? You know, what is this gluten-free thing? What is this person that, you know, gosh, this person is in, you know, all these kids that are fat, things like that. So it creates a conversation, and it also can give you a place where you may want to guide your conversation based on what is of interest to people. And so what we did is it's a combination of health and environmental and also money. So the whole financial side is important. So what we're looking for is people who will choose to partner with us to spread the word and provide some solutions for people and can provide some substantial income. I was at a program this weekend, just as an aside, and Dee Dee Shaw was there along with 4 or 5 other business leaders. Wanda was there, and we were talking just briefly about the income. And I looked around the room and I said, I don't know the exact numbers, but I said, there's probably $120,000 a month that's in this room that's being paid for doing exactly what we've just done with a handful of people. It's like, wow. Of course, it didn't hurt to have Dee Dee there, but just, I mean, this was, you know, 6 or 8 business leaders. And so if you want to establish the possibilities, you know, of being able to be a wellness educator who's being paid for it. So that was, anyway, that was kind of fun. So Joanne, back to you.
Okay, it's also a good recruiting tool for other wellness educators that are in different fields, because I worked with Pam Budner and Jennifer Cancio on a program called Triple Play Partners, which went after people who are in the health field, you know, exercise people, chiropractors, anyone that has some kind of yoga teacher, Pilates teacher, to show that they can utilize what we offer to help them educate their clients and add additional income to resource to them. So there's all sorts of ways to play with it. So as we take this, Carolyn and I were talking, and as we were thinking about what we're doing is what we're sharing, because we're in a working mode. I'm very excited about where I see my business going, and it's a lot with new people. One of the things, I'm on the pilot program for the wellness program, and it's at its completion. We've had good results. I shared the screens last time, and I'm going to go quickly through the screens again tonight because I think there's a lot of value in it. I'm not going to teach the whole thing. It's just going to give you an idea of how not only can you use it in a Facebook group that you can create to share your program, but it can also work as an in-home. So like for my Spanish group that doesn't do Facebook, this concept can still work very well. So I've got to share my screen first. And here it is. So with that said, it all starts with, let me go back. It all starts with the concept of a free group. And that's kind of like the non-branding aspect that Carolyn's talking about. The free group that they had was Eat the Rainbow, which is how to get people to eat more vegetables. You create a group and you say, for 1 week, we're going to eat the rainbow. You're going to eat more vegetables with different colors on different times of the week. And that could be a free group. You might do a free group that says, let's all decide to drink more water. Join me in a campaign that this week we're going to track each other with how much water we're getting into our diet. You get the drift. You do something that you feel that you can invite some of the people that you know that you might want to target market a certain behavior that will improve the quality of someone's health. Exercise. There are too many people not exercising. I can't believe how people can't exercise. I feel so much better. So I might start a group of women who I say, let's empower each other by making sure we get enough exercise each week. Yes. So then you can, after the free group, you can then say, I'm creating a select group of VIP people who want to go further in depth on how they can improve the quality of their life and health. And whatever you talk about in the free group, Shackley is going to be promoting this in August. You will have all of the materials that will give you additional information to be able to expand your free group to a customer group where they buy a package, a certain package, and then they become customers that get you teach on the products to get great results. You then move in. This is a flow chart, everybody. How many of you have seen a flow chart in your Shackley business before? Raise your hand. I mean, a flow chart is how you take someone from beginning interest to a customer, to an opportunity event, to becoming an ambassador and onboarding them, to opening their business by doing a business opening. It's really nothing different than what we've done. Calendar, it teaches creating a calendar. So Red, you're new to restarting your Shackley business. You want to take a look at how am I going to get momentum going? I would say to you, start promoting a free group. What kind of free group do you want to start? Brainstorm it with me or brainstorm yourself with the clientele you want to invite, and you do the starting date and you do it for a week. You kick off the group. And then after, so you fill your calendar, you then start promoting your customer group. Who can I invite into, let's deal with stress presenting. Let's deal with women's issues. So you'd start a customer group where they would buy a package and you can start them on the nutrition. After you get a good customer group going, you start an opportunity event. And after this, I'm going to show you the opportunity presentation that my group created that went through the free groups, went through their customer group and socials, created an opportunity event, and they've completed their program and are doing very well and getting new customers, new ambassadors, and they're just following this process. Here are some of the things that Shackley is going to be coming out with in August to give you different ideas on how you run these free groups and how you create trackers, how you give recipes, and how you go into a customer group where you have a great little picture on master your metabolism, healthy gut balance. What's the third one over here? Can't
Healthy
see it.
thyroid.
Healthy thyroid. So you'll see this at conference for those of you going. I hope you're all attending. I think it's a great one to make. And then currently my group is just completing their master their metabolism group. They post regularly, so you can do it through a Facebook group, or you can do it, as I said, live. Day 1 post, day 2 post, and day 1 check-in. There's all these tracker sheets. Here's a weekly habit tracker where once you get them on a program, they have to, and when they check off their trackers and turn them into you, there's prizes at the end of it for those who give you their trackers. Are they taking their vitamins? Are they drinking their shake? Are they doing their exercise? And are they drinking their water? And then there's onboarding for new ambassadors. What do you do when you get a new ambassador, and how do you start them? And it's all built on trust. How often have we heard that? No one will be a long-term customer or a director in your organization or a sales leader unless your communication is authentic and you're building it on trust. And you can use all of these opportunities to connect, to build relationships, and to create a community of people you want to be a part of. Team empowerment is exactly what makes a big business, and it's the secret sauce of our business. Here are some of the other posts that Christy has used. What's so beautiful about this is she's sharing it and we can copy, and a lot of it comes from Shackley tools. It talks about how you launch your party guide, how you set up your Facebook group. And it's just really, it's all about, let's do it all together so that we can grow our businesses. I love this particular slide she did, because if you look here, she talks about the wellness industry, the top 3 trends in today's world. Wellness business is a $7 trillion industry by 2025. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that? And that basically is supplements. I'm going to go on to my next presentation because that says a little bit more. So let me go back to where I'm supposed to be, which I hope I can do. All right.
Those are great, Joanne. And while you're doing that, I'll just fill in with people
Okay.
that these are field generated programs that will be put together. You know, the graphics are things that most anybody can use. So this is when Joanne talks about being in a pilot program, there's a handful of business leader teams that are working with some of these to figure out how they can be most effective for the product development and customer development side of our business. So these are all things that will become available. So we're very fortunate Joanne is part of this, and she's got little extra insights on this.
Is this screen being shared? Life by Design? How about that?
Yep, that's good.
Okay. So as we went through, and I know I talked quickly because we were getting into 9:15, and I like to start on time and end on time as well. And maybe if you have some questions. So my group went through the whole free product, customer, VIP customer group to the opportunity. And this is what they came up with. They wanted something comfortable for themselves. And this is what I like very much. I like what they did. And they gathered together. It's nice to have 2 or 3 people who are working the program together. So Rosanna, you might pick a couple of people on your group that might want to get movement going and doing different things. And you'd create that mastermind team of doing these kinds of events.
Joanne,
Yeah.
I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that design is spelled incorrectly before you show it.
Yeah, I was wondering. I've been trying to figure out
Oh,
how
yeah.
that.
I
that
noticed
graphic-
that actually when I was doing it today, and I have to tell the group.
I didn't understand that.
It's my watch talking to me. I have to tell Colleen that it's not spelled correctly.
I was trying to figure out the graphics on that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Tammy,
I
thank
noticed
you.
it today, earlier. And I don't know how to correct it because it's their presentation. So I'll let her know. So they go into, there are 3 or 4 women that have collaborated on this, and how they started off was to develop trust with the women that they're inviting to hear about the opportunity. And this is a part of, this is a first level, actually second level for second level group here. And Colleen DeGaynor, she gave a little bio. She's a gorgeous woman. She has a twin sister. She loves helping people live healthier lives. She has a husband, John, who's very supportive. He's a corporate CEO, and 2 daughters that are actually Isabel, 21, is now a director. She's going to be stopping by here on Saturday because she's in the DC area. So I'll get to spend some time with her. And their daughter, Celine, the 17-year-old, will be going to Georgetown University next year, which is near me. They live in the suburb of Detroit, and her hobbies are playing golf, reading, personal development, gardening, and spending time with family. And she is very excited about building the Shackley business to show her daughters what it takes to be an entrepreneur and build a business. Lisa Stalker is a cousin in OPA organization that we have done a lot of work together. She's a wellness educator for over 20 years, tried the nutritional products, decided to build a business. Her husband also is very supportive. One of the best decisions she's ever made. She loves living in the country. She made a note in one of the metabolism group. They asked, what's one fun thing about you? And she said she's never lived in a suburb or she's always lived in the country, out in the country without many neighbors. Her mission is to help others feel good so they live their best. Now they put this together because they wanted it to be personal for them. I think they took a Christy Lyon concept of how she built a opportunity presentation. And here's where they shared their business testimonies on what they're doing with their Shackley bonus check. Lisa's using it for mostly investments these days. Her husband and she both work remotely, and they're able to travel whenever they want. Colleen uses her earnings to cover her wellness products, her golf lessons, and extra fun things each month. And Jennifer, the third person, uses her Shackley bonus pay for, and that has to be edited too, for her mortgage and car payment every month. And that's good for, if they're doing a group of women or young moms or whatever, it's good to see that Shackley's actually giving them enough income to do these great things. I love this slide. It's a career path and what's possible. I think it's very current and well done. And it shows the different levels of income that you can make each year on Shackley, whether you want to make it a part-time hobby business or you want to make it a big full-time career legacy business. And then Cassie was another one of the persons that they work with, and she talks about where she grew up. She talks about her hobbies, who her families are, and what she loves to do. Jennifer Cancio is a health coach and wellness educator for over 20 years, and she's on a mission to help people build health and vitality through natural solutions. She goes through who her family is and what her hobbies are. This slide I love because it says average household expenditures, 30 to 40, and these women are detail women. So I know that these are probably very accurate statistics and very current. So $30 to $40 per month on household cleaning supplies. Now, I don't spend $30 to $40 a month on my cleaning supplies. Actually, my housekeeper came to me the other day. She said, how long have I been working for you? I said 4 years. She said, I'm still using that same quart. I have her on the quart of basic G. So it's crazy. $25 to $50 per month on beauty products. An average millennial, this is really quite good, $60 per month on supplements. An average baby boomer, $130 per month. And health conscious sports enthusiasts or people trying to lose weight, $300 per month on supplements, protein powders, etc. I changed, when you get this presentation on the OPA site, I've taken their personal information off so that you can create your own personal information and pictures in there. In here, we've added the most, Carolyn, what's the line again? Well, I don't know why I can't keep remembering that.
The most clinically proven wellness company in the world.
And it's changing brands can change your life. And all of these products we all use in your home. And simply by joining us and using these products, you'll be using better quality products that are proven by science, created in harmony with nature, and backed by safe, proven, and guaranteed principles. And the Shackley difference. And we are now hiring Shackley monthly average earnings director, and it goes through what a person would earn each month, how to get started, talk to the person who brought you, and they'll help you pick your package. So if you like those income, either wanting to either be a hobby income person or wanting to join us as a career person, there's 2 entry levels for this hiring. And it's a commission-based business, and we're here to help you all the way along to the top. And here are the 2 packages that we have available to you. And that's the presentation. And I think that, oh, there's one other thing I've got to show you. So here we are, we're now getting people interested. We need to teach them more. One of the things that I have to stop sharing, I know. This is where my ADD really kicks in. Okay, where am I? Okay, how do I expand the Zoom, Scott? There it is. Okay. I just have one last thing, and we're getting people started. I'm getting new people started, and we have a large group that we're going to be working with that is interested in looking at what Shackley has to offer. And we discussed, well, how do we start them? What am I going to do? They're at a distance, they're not near me. So what we did was put together this here. So in looking at what are we going to show people, there's so much out there. We wanted to narrow it down and focus. First, we've created the need. We've shown the need and what's going on in the world between the product and on the income side. We've shown us people who we are if you use that kind of opportunity presentation. And they're going to want to know a little bit about the Shackley difference. So we picked 4 different either Shackley TV or pieces that would relate on the website to the people that we're communicating to. There's so much wealth in our tools area. So what we can do, and this better open because it opened earlier. Oh, I know what it is. There it is. We started with the Shackley difference. And in this Shackley difference, it goes through 65 years of making healthy happen. I'll start it very briefly.
I'm going to slide it down a little.
Okay, so that was one that we have. You don't want me to play the whole thing, do you, Carolyn?
No, that's okay. You give
Yeah.
them the name of it because it is in Shackley.tv.
Well, when
Isn't
you
it? Or isn't
go,
it?
this PowerPoint is in the OPA site. So you can get the links from that PowerPoint. So I don't need
Okay.
to give it to you because I
Yep.
put it into the.
Yep.
So then this one is also very great because it shows Dr. Shackley. Okay, that's a really nice one that we liked.
Mhm.
And now to get back to my PowerPoint. Am I back? Yes.
Yep.
This one was really eye-opening when we went to this one. It's the health science research. And look at this, what it has available in here: nutrition and health updates, effects of resveratrol-based polyphenol supplementation on exercise-induced muscle damage. I mean, there's so many resources in here. It's just nuts. Eye health. I'm not using this enough, and since we put it in, I'm really going to be just going through these resources and seeing how effective I can be in better information to the people I'm working with. And then we have, I might have lost my screen share. No. This one was important. We wanted to show inclusive and diversity because it's a group that needs to see that there's not just, I mean, the one presentation that Jennifer and they did, they're all young, beautiful women, and we need to show diversity of who we have in our Shackley business because it's made up of so many different people. And so we really like this to share with other people. And then we have this is clinical studies, science and ingredients. I'm not going to turn that on because it's Les Wong who's going through everything. So those are the tools that we feel are most important for us, or for me especially, in all the new business that I plan on establishing as I go forward. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Carolyn, for your final blessing on the evening.
Well, Joanne, thank you. And thanks to you for the inspiration for doing this together. And hopefully these resources, Scott's making them available. We'll keep trimming them down so that all of our blank spaces won't be in the recording. But hopefully you can see the possibilities of being able to educate people without having to go through the Shackley brand at first, but then having all the resources that the Shackley brand can make available. So that's our intention for tonight. Thanks to you, Joanne, for helping to inspire that we do this. Thanks, everyone.
OPA call, and we're blessed to be on OPA. Bye.
We certainly are. Take care, guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye.